J Prime here, and back so soon, same night. How about that? Who knew? So I've been thinking a lot about the past and some things that I thought I conquered, but I didn't. So one of those things was actually my anger, and you would probably never guess it by these videos. And if you're out there in the real world, you probably wouldn't guess it by knowing me. And because it's so sporadic, it feels like, you know what I mean. But there's always a reason, so not really sporadic, but it's like few and far between. But every now and then, I do find myself having to deal with anger, and there's always a reason why I'm angry. And I would argue that sometimes I'm in the right for that. In fact, most of the times. But see, here's the thing that keeps on creeping up over time. It's like just because you're in the right for something, just because you're justifying your anger, doesn't always mean what you think it's going to mean. Because sometimes it just comes off wrong, and sometimes you do something and it comes off as wrong. And so my thing is that I thought I handled a lot of my issues with my anger in the past, and I think that actually that still kind of holds, but it's been an crazy kind of year. So I've had to like relearn some things with that. And one of the other big things that I thought I had dealt with, but I think it's just going to be a recurring thing so long as I draw a breath, is that dealing with the point of everything. And I know that sounds like a downer just going in, but bear with me. So my thing, like, I think once I hit around 14 or 15, and this was ages ago, I'm older than I look, don't forget that. Like, I had started to question, like, the point of everything, and I know we all have our ways to give ourselves a purpose, but for me, like, every way that I looked at it logically, it's hard to come up with a reason for anything. And for a while, that's the kind of logic that, it can imprison you if you're not careful. Because, you're like, well, why do I do this? Why do I do that? If it's all going to end, what's the point, right? And then after a while, I had to find my own point. I had to figure things out in that regard. And I had, dealt with that. But then there's certain points in life where I kind of crept back up. But I thought I'd largely kind of like, squash that. But I feel like I've had to deal with that a lot this year too. Because it's like, well, I'm doing all these interesting things out there, and I'm building up a legacy and all that, and it's like, well, what's the point? That's how I feel some days. It's like it's all gonna fade away. Same with like me. Same with the planet, and that feels like a downer. Like, how do you ever get past that? And I think it's like not something that you get past. I feel like it's something that you cope with, and I'm trying to figure out ways to cope with that better. And I feel like I'm succeeding with that, but it's definitely something that I thought I had a better handle on than I did, or at the very least I did until this year again. And my whole thing is like, as long as I'm here, right? I'm here. I might as well be happy, not miserable. And it's like if I can do something better, if like the next generation is to survive, I was like, what can I do to help that? And putting things in perspective is tricky sometimes, because you feel these strong feelings, and you're like, well, what do I do? How do I get by? And for me, I don't know if there's a good answer, but I'm just like, I need to. I'm just gonna fight. Um, and there's something to be said about that, because we're always going to struggle to find meaning, right? There's so many reasons as to why we do what we do. We have the onus of these great minds that we have, right? They come with a horrible price in a way. We have this burden of finding our purpose, of finding meaning in life, and it isn't always easy. And then there's times where we can find that, and we can still fight that. But I feel like, while I'm here, I might as well be doing the best that I can. And I don't know if that helps someone out there, because it's like, well, I don't have the answers, and I doubt anyone would. But I think there's a way to deal with things. I feel like there's a way to cope with things. And that's where I'm at. So I've been thinking that this is an interesting year, that I've had to like retackle some issues that I had. One of those is a definite issue that I feel like I can handle better, and actually, like, alleviate some of the craziness that goes with that. And then the other is like, I feel that's hard to do, like, but we can find ways to deal with things. Stay strong, stay positive, stay awesome, keep rocking. Sometimes we have to. So, prime out.